live, there will be about a 30-second delay.
So we're good to go? All right, cool. Well, then let's kick off the November 16th Fish and Game Commission. We'll start with just our standard roll call. Commissioner Madigan?
I'm here.
Commissioner Pilar?
Heller, I am here. Thank you.
Feller, I'll get your last name right one of these times. And Commissioner Paulson?
Paulson, you're muted.
Here.
All right.
Can
And then
can we get the videos to work? I don't want to look at myself on the couch with my dogs.
That's beyond my capability. I did hear from Commissioner Van. It sounds like he's busy this afternoon. And then I'm still trying to track down Michael Cura. I know that his placement is going to be up, I think, at the end of this year. My apologies if there's background noise for me. I'm sitting in the back of my truck trying to do this. So that's kind of the rest of the group. But if we just want to get straight into our agenda, approval of minutes from the September 23rd meeting. Anyone have comments?
Yeah, so there is a few things that we need to correct. We actually have to go back to the minutes of July 24th. So would you like me to start with the July 24th or the September 23rd?
Let's do July 24th and then we'll move forward from there.
Okay, so it goes back to at our last meeting, we didn't have a quorum, so we could not make a motion to change the verbiage on a vacancy in District 1. And the verbiage that is currently posted is we need to redefine it or read it. It's the one where it says, we will make an effort to reach out to the tribes and other ethnicities besides whites. We need to change that to make an effort to reach out to all. I'm lost of words right now. So somebody else help out there.
Commissioner Paulson, we wrote it down, and I do believe it is reflected in the last month's minutes, the exact verbiage that you said. I wrote it down, and then I had written to James Feenan, and I'm having problems getting those minutes changed, and I asked for technical support, and I haven't received it yet. So hopefully I will, though.
Yeah, not a problem. So if you have what the verbiage is,
yes.
What I would like you to do is put it in the minute format, email it to Anna, and I will review it, and then we will approve and then go through the proper process of posting it.
Yes, agreed. So I had a technical error here. I had been doing the thing I asked for a copy of our minutes for the July minutes, and over the September minutes, the July minutes for the July minutes, and I haven't received them back yet because what happens is with my Google Drive, it had been changed. And so I needed a copy of what was posted. And I asked a couple of times, I haven't received it yet. Yeah.
Okay, so you can go, if you're looking for the minutes, they're on the county website.
Okay,
And then
I'll
you
go
can
re-
pull
I'll-
it from there and then edit it and then go from there.
okay, okay.
So with that said, we can, I make a motion to change the verbiage to the July 24th minutes regarding the District 1 vacancy.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I think, I'm not trying to be procedurally correct. I don't believe you can second a motion because you're the chair, I believe. That's something we'll
Oh, I'll
discuss.
second it.
Thank you, Tracy.
Right, because I'm chair now.
Correct.
Good point.
Okay, so we're good on July 24th. We've moved forward to make that official change to the September 23rd. Let's see, there are a couple of things. They're just, okay, my notes are showing that, to talk about exactly what I just talked about. So, I'm okay with the September 23rd. Oh, except that, I am not the acting District 1 Commissioner. I have filled that position of District 1 Commissioner on August 4th. Other than, we're good to go.
So how do you want that to be reflected? You are.
Somehow got put in that I am acting District 1 Commissioner. I don't know how to, let's see, the reword that would be now, I see Commissioner Pallison is now District 1 Commissioner. I think would be a
Okay, just take out the acting. Okay.
Anybody else have thoughts?
Agreed. Because you're now
Okay.
the District 1 Commissioner.
Oh, you're not just acting like the District 1 Commissioner. You are. Oh, I get it. Okay. I get
am.
you. All right. You are. He is. All right. So
Yes.
not acting, not pretend. No. Okay,
I'm not
got it.
acting.
All righty. I'm not acting here. Okay. I understand. Thank you.
Got it.
I'll take that part out. Okay.
I can make another motion to make, change the verbiage for that. I make a motion to change the
I
verbiage on Commissioner Pallison not acting, but District 1 Commissioner.
got it. I second it.
Thank you. Okay, back to you, Anna.
All right, so given the changes that were just discussed, does anyone want to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the November meeting and the September?
The July and September minutes.
Yeah, sorry, July and September, given all changes.
I'll make a motion to approve the July and September minutes.
I second.
And was that Tracy?
Yeah.
Seconding it?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, cool. So hopefully we're up to date with our minutes being approved thus far.
Do you have to call for a vote?
I thought we just approved the minutes.
Well, you approved it and you seconded it, and then that requires a call for a vote, doesn't it?
Yes, clearly it's a good thing we're going over how to hold a meeting today. I'm struggling in this facet. I'm so
No,
sorry.
you're doing fine.
All right.
Okay,
So
yeah.
all in favor with approving minutes for the July and September meetings, given that they reflect the changes discussed? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right.
Aye.
Anyone say nay? Away we go. Okay, moving straight on. I do kind of want to make this a bit of a quicker meeting, just because we are now running pretty far behind. Do we have any public expression that's come through, Tracy?
Yeah, the 2 phone calls that I got were actually quite upsetting to me personally. They were complaining that there was too much wildlife on their land. I think they were probably refugees. I called back, but the number they had given or whatever, what I called back several times to make sure, listen to it, but there was nobody at the number that they called from. And then, yeah, one person was just, there's too many turkeys and foxes out here. Somebody should come do something about it. I have no idea what that was about. I called them back. And then the other one was, they came here, they had moved here, but they didn't want a cougar to eat their dog. And so what they wanted someone to, they were upset about that there were cougars in the area. It was upsetting to me. But everybody's fine. That was my 2 public. And then Pat was going to come and talk today, but it looks like he's not here. About this great forest health stuff that he's got going on.
Okay. Yeah, I know that in the past, Beth has said a fair amount of phone calls come in to the line that are things that we can't really handle. We can't really help the cougar and turkey situation. But now that the Chris is back and the depredation, we can hand out his information and try to get them the necessary contacts that they would need. Although I'm not sure much can be done about turkeys. I don't think.
Well, I wouldn't personally go. Well, maybe we could talk about that right now, because I wouldn't ever personally just go that. I wouldn't. I don't think there's anything to do about wildlife. That's wildlife lives here. So I don't, I mean, I did the hotline for a while, and my approach is usually teaching people to live with wildlife and not to call wildlife services. In my opinion, there was nothing to call wildlife services about. I don't.
Yeah.
Do you guys?
I personally agree, but I think the only thing we really can do is provide them with information. And then if they call wildlife services, it's up to Chris to educate from there. Because I'm not sure what our role would come in with that. I mean, a cougar is potentially dangerous if there's kids and dogs and folks hiking in rural areas. But yeah, it's one of those, I think we do expect to get a fair amount of calls that are out of our scope of work, and we just have to learn how to hopefully give them the resources that they would require.
Well, I have a question. I consider myself a resource because I started the association. I manned the hotline for 4 years, and I work with wildlife services. Would you guys feel that I was a resource, that I could call them back knowing this information, or what's the deal with you guys and your feeling about that?
I feel like you, Tracy, are a phenomenal resource, and I would be more than comfortable to have Tracy call them back. But I think as a commissioner, then we wouldn't be a resource. But these are questions. That's also a question mark at the end of that statement.
Sure. Okay.
Can I throw 2 cents in?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, it's hard. I try to raise my hand, but you guys can't see me, so.
Can we get turned on?
What's that?
I wish we could get turned on.
I didn't understand you.
How we can get turned on, like, so we can see each other.
I think there's a technical difficulty in wherever this is streaming from. So moving on back to your question on acting as a resource, that I believe would go outside of the scope and role of the commissioner. And so I think Anna summed it up. You're a great resource and you have a lot of knowledge, but there's limits of what a commissioner should and should not do. And so in this case, if calls are coming in about wildlife, especially like cougars or lions, they need to be referred to the proper resources, the actual fish and game wardens or resource officers. That's my view.
Sure. Okay.
And it
This
can't
is,
be
this is Patty. I actually think that the cleanest way to handle it, Tracy, is if the call is coming in on the Fish and Game or commission line and not to you directly as a commissioner,
Mhm.
then I think we need to pass on those things so that there won't be any, confusion about if this is messaging coming from the group or from you as an individual, even, regardless of our individual areas of interest and expertise. If it's not something that we're addressing as a group, you're better off either saying, I'd be happy to talk to you, but you need to call me as a private citizen and here's my contact information. Or even better, to refer them to somebody that that could, give them good, balanced information.
Thank you, Patty. Okay, guys, I hear you and I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So those are our only 2 phone calls this week. And on to our agenda items. So it doesn't look like we have Pat today. But let's definitely reach out to him, and I can as well, to make sure that we just didn't mess up the timing with the Monday versus Wednesday the 16th. So he's not trying to call in on Wednesday.
Okay, so we're not doing Wednesday. Okay, got it. Sorry about that. So I'll fix that.
Can I just interrupt for a minute?
No worries. I just don't want him to sit on Zoom or get confused or, all the fun things. So we'll just touch base with him there because it seems like he's not in today.
He was coming. Yeah. He was coming for sure. I had heard from him this morning, yes, I will, and yes, okay.
All right. And then if it's okay, I would like to make a motion to kind of rearrange the agenda items here and move up an agenda item. I'd like to move straight into Commissioner Paulson's meetings, rules and procedures, conflicts of interests, and defining agenda items before we move into the rest of it.
I will make the motion and then someone needs to second it. So I think proper would be, Chair, I would like to review the agenda items.
Okay.
And you would acknowledge, and then I would go bullet point 4. I would like to bring that to the top of the agenda for discussion. And then we make a motion and then a second, I believe is the correct way to do it.
All right.
So I'll make a motion to discuss bullet point 4 first on our list of agenda items.
So this is Patty. I don't think we have to make any kind of motions to change agenda items. I think we can just you can say, can we move the agenda item up? And then if anybody objects or for any reason, then we can have a discussion. But I don't think it has to be a formal motion and approval.
Okay, we'll roll with that.
All right, so moving agenda item or bullet point number 4 to the top of the list. Everyone feels comfortable with that?
Yes.
Affirmative.
Sounds good.
All right, Commissioner Paulson, take it away.
Okay, so we kind of let's see, how do I start this? The Zoom meetings are new to a lot of us. I believe some of us commissioners got pretty used to Beth really helping us out, and so we need to kind of tighten things up, basically to make sure that the commission is at a higher standard and have a more professional appearance. The last meeting I was on, there was 22 outside people on, and it was kind of chaotic on our meeting. So that's why I want to discuss the meeting rules. And so the biggest thing that I want to touch on is how do we communicate? And it's very, like today is very difficult because we can't see each other. Have to, and I believe it's the chairperson's responsibility is to take note when someone is speaking and then somebody wants to make a comment, they write that down. The person that's talking finishes, then the chair calls on the next person to speak. And it cleans up our interaction. And there's no interruptions, and on this Zoom meeting, it is difficult, when everybody's trying to talk, especially when there's all of us that actually hear what we're doing. So, do we have any questions on how to go through or suggestions on how to during the Zoom meetings when you want to ask a question? How do we do it? That's a question to you guys.
No, I feel clear on it, and I do agree that as chair, I'll go through and kind of call on each person, and today is even harder because we can't visually see a raised hand.
Exactly. So are we all willing to participate in that type of format to wait our turn and in the discussions?
Absolutely.
One thing, I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time to go through it because it is extremely lengthy, but I feel that all of us need to reread our bylaws, and that gives us a lot better understanding of our meeting rules and procedures. So I wanted to touch on just the communication part. The second thing I wanted to touch on is, Tracy, you're doing a great job trying to keep everything going as the acting secretary. One of the things that we got to improve on is when you're putting out minutes or agendas, they should be sent to Anna and I first for approval. And then once they're approved, then they're sent back to you to be posted on the county website. By doing that, we can clean up a lot of verbiage. We can make any corrections if necessary before they get posted on the public website.
Thank you, Red Hawk. I actually asked before if I could do that, and I was told no, but then I just sent her another letter because I really wanted to do that, and I got permission, and so now I get to send them to you first, which I really want to do. I need you guys to look at my stuff before it gets sent out. So I cleared it up with Adrian, and we're all ready to go. Yes.
Got it. And I saw that email.
Okay.
So if you have in the future, if you have questions, it is okay to ask, especially when it's a procedural thing. You can ask Anna or I, or even another commissioner. It's where we get in trouble is when we start discussing items in a larger group. And that's where I believe the Brown Act gets involved. So, okay, I lost my train of thought there. So the notes and agenda, we got that. They're going to come to us first, then we'll post them, and then you will post them to the county website. Another thing I want to discuss is what are agenda items. So agenda items can be, anybody can request to put something on the agenda. So there's times where, I'll use this as an example. Patty was addressed by a local individual about a problem. She referred them to me. They called me, and instead of making this an agenda item and to tie everything up, I took action within the scope of a commissioner, resolved the issue, and then I just reported it in my commissioner report. It frees up time, if that makes sense. So what I'm trying to say is, I guess, is not everything needs to be an agenda item. The agenda items should be items that we need to directly take action on, or something that is pertinent to our knowledge as a commissioner. And if anybody else has something to say about that, throw it in. If they think that we could add more on the agenda stuff, go ahead.
I think my biggest ask with agenda items is that they come fully presented with a laid out plan. So if you have an agenda item, like I have 2 agenda items up today, and I know what I would like the commission to not do, but I know where I would want the discussion to be headed. It's not so much a free for all, let's discuss this, but a very organized discussion on one topic. And with the background research kind of thrown in there, this is what I know, these are the issues, what does the discussion, or what does the commission think about this one thing? That would be an agenda item. Versus, what do y'all think salmon season's open? We don't really get much say in that at all.
100%.
Agreed. I hear you.
Cool.
Patty, do you have anything?
No, I think it's true. We need to, kind of regain our lost ground that we've had because we can't meet in person, and that we've had, changes in all of our worlds. So I think that getting on that right page is really clearly what we need to do, and maybe just revisiting what our role is. I think initially when I joined the commission, we had grants that we were able to give out. And so, that was a large part of what we did as a commission. And I think now we kind of have to revisit what is our role. So I'd like to see that be part of a discussion at a future, it doesn't have to be today, but I think we need to really kind of get back to what is our purpose, and, where's our North Star? What should we be pointing? What direction? So.
Agreed. So if there is no more questions on the agenda, I want to cover the last thing is the conflict of interest. And this is something that can happen to all of us, where we're you know, we're representing the commission. We have private lives that could interfere with what we're doing. And so the meeting on July 24th, there was an agenda item that, that probably should not have been an agenda item. It was a discussion of rezoning rangeland. There's cannabis use in there. And in that case, if something like that happens in the future, if there is a conflict with a commissioner, they have to excuse themselves. They need to publicly say, I can't participate. And I believe the rules say, I don't have it in front of me, but not only you can't vote, but you can't even be in the room. You can't even listen to the discussion if it continues on. And so that's what I wanted to just discuss is in the future, if we have items that potentially, even if you don't feel that there's a conflict, but the outside can perceive them as potentially a conflict, you must step up and disengage from that conversation, the voting, the whole presentation. And if you go to the form 700 that we all fill out, I believe on the back of it, and I'm going to look for it real quick here, there is a complete definition of what a conflict of interest actually is. So I think that kind of covers everything. I wanted to discuss it at the last meeting, but it somehow missed the agenda. So that's why we're doing it now, 4 months later. Any questions on that?
Yeah, this is Patty.
Yes.
That is a really good point, because I think it's important that we all, not just that situation, but, even when it comes to questions about hunting or abalone or salmon fishing or any of those sort of things, if we have a financial interest in any of those activities beyond, avid sports interest, enthusiast, or recreation, those things really do need to be pointed out. Like, you need to recuse yourself if you make your living somehow that's going to be impacted or have the perception of conflict of interest. So I think it's really good that we do bring this up and address it. And I think that we can be all kind of get on the same page with that, so that if there is a situation, we can call it out before it becomes a problem. So thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Red Hawk. If you want to...
I'm sorry, I talked over you. Go ahead, Anna.
No, I just wanted to thank you for bringing all of this up. That's it.
Great. I think that kind of, we could spend the next 2 hours going over the procedural ways of running our meeting, but, we're already after 4 o'clock. I think let's all of us take the time and read this stuff, the bylaws and any of the any other questions that we have on running the meeting, the conflict of interest, agendas and stuff like that, and then just hold ourselves to a higher level. I think that's all I'm asking. And then we can move on here.
All right, I agree. And especially because we do have so many new folks filling new roles. Tracy filling the role of secretary, myself filling the role of chair, and then you filling the role of vice chair. We're all kind of in flux and then on a new medium as well. So it's always good to remember, and I'm always a fan of holding myself to a higher standard. But let's zoom, to use a horrible pun, right on into our next agenda items. A discussion of the Mendocino Marine Protected Area Compliance Forum, which is something that I put on. So if we're all done with our last bullet point, we'll just move straight forward.
Yes, I am done. Thank you.
Okay. So one of the other positions that I volunteer for is I'm a co-chair of the Mendocino Marine Protected Areas Collaborative. We do education and outreach around MPAs, specifically in Mendocino County. The idea is that it's a grassroots movement, so no one knows this coastline better than locals. And how can we utilize that local knowledge to increase awareness around Mendocino's marine protected areas? Last month, we held a compliance forum where we reached out to community members and we're asking where poaching and MPA violations are occurring and in what specific MPAs they are occurring. So a big one for us was Point Cabrillo MPA. This is a reserve, absolutely no take is allowed there. We get a ton of sport fishermen out there fishing, and then people trying to fish off the rocks. Thankfully, the lighthouse and the Point Cabrillo Lightkeepers Association is very aware of their MPA and they're very proud of it. So they do quite a good job informing people of the no-take regulations there, but they can't get out to the people fishing on the sport boats. And then the other one that was flagged as a huge issue is the Big River Estuary in Mendocino. So that's a state park as well as a marine protected area. So no dogs can be off leash. There's a harbor seal rookery that will sometimes occur in the grasslands there. And the biggest issues that we heard from our constituents were the dogs off leash, people having bonfires on that beach out of fire rings, and then the fact that there's no trash cans down there. So folks will just leave trash wherever they are. And then the signage there as well is very hectic and very confusing. There's 4 or 5 different signboards, each saying something different. About no dogs, this is an MPA, this is a state park. There's this term signed to death that we use sometimes, and when I look at that, that's the only thing that pops in my head. There's so many signs I can't even keep straight what I'm allowed and not allowed to do. And then as part of that estuary, there's also a boat launch zone. Now, motorized boats and engines are allowed to go through that MPA for hunting purposes and for recreation purposes, but they have to be below 5 miles an hour, and that's just not what appears to be occurring. I was down there 2 weekends ago, I believe, with the opening of recreational crab, and I open water swim that area. So there were 8 of us swimmers in the water at that time, you know, black hoods, black wetsuits on a foggy day, and then 4 or 5 boats. Only one boat was going the required speed limit. So there was a pretty big interaction with the boaters and the swimmers, and we're a little hard to see in the water, and I understand the danger there. But I wanted to bring all of this to the attention of the commission, because as part of this compliance forum, there is grant funding available to help solve these issues. And I'm curious if anyone on the commission has ideas of potential grant projects or would be interested in partnering with the MPA collaborative in going forward on a grant. Yeah. That was a lot of information.
This is Patty. I don't know. I don't want to step ahead if anybody else has something pressing, but what comes to my mind is jurisdiction. And that is that, you know, we as a forum to give recommendations to the county and to work with the public, have to acknowledge that state parks,
I don't want to step ahead if anybody else has something.
You mentioned the Lighthouse Association and their proactive approach. Also Casper Beach, which I believe is on the north end of the preserve. Part of it is owned by Mendocino Land Trust and the other part of it is by State Park. So the south portion, which is not the launch, but I think that those partners might be more appropriate. We could write letters of support, but I don't want to step on somebody else's jurisdiction. If it's state parks, then state parks, if they don't have the capacity, then MAPA would be a good fit. If MAPA doesn't have the capacity, then Mendocino Land Trust is also like a major player, or has been in the past with state parks. With state parks and Big River. So those are some thoughts about other partners. And I don't think we as a group have capacity to write and administer grants right now, but I think we do have the capacity to be supportive partners and to make recommendations, but I don't see us playing a leadership role myself.
So very well said, Patty. And you basically covered what I was going to kind of point out.
Yeah, we definitely don't have any jurisdiction down there or really anywhere to increase compliance or to be a warden or anything like that. But if the Mendocino Marine Protected Areas Collaborative were to go for a grant, would the commission feel comfortable supporting it?
This is Patty again. I think that, I think we need to be assured that you're not, or that the groups are not in conflict about this, because state parks, it's their management area. And then, I think that if there was, how should I say it, unanimity in terms of what needs to happen. So a lot of times state parks will say, no, we can't do this because we don't have funding. But if they support it in concept, it gives some credibility to the effort. Not that I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea to have clear messaging and more outreach to the public, and maybe even some more, regulatory oomph to compliance there. But I do think that the effort would be stronger with everybody on board, and I would be in favor of writing a letter as long as the Marine Protection Association was not in conflict with either of the other stakeholders. That's kind of my gist.
I totally understand where you're coming from, and I probably should provide more background information. We do have a memorandum of understanding with the Department of Fish and Wildlife, with state parks. Both of them were on the compliance forums. We've worked with them throughout the state in a number of different areas, and anything that the collaborative would put forward is gonna be in partnership with those two agencies, because we just can't work separately. There's too many different jurisdictions. But what we can do is, there are pots of funding available to programs like the collaborative network that helps them move programs forward that maybe state parks didn't have the funding for. So it's a helping hand rather than a stepping around. But everything is done with a memorandum of understanding and complete communication between all agencies. It's a bit of a logistical nightmare sometimes, but very important.
Yeah, I think if you brought us like the information, one of us on the board, probably since you're bringing it to the commission, that it'd probably be better if it was maybe signed by Red Hawk, or perhaps we can figure out if it's okay if you sign your own letter, but we should all be able to read it and review it. So I'm in favor of a letter of support.
Okay.
So before we go too far down the road here, I like what Patty's saying on we need to have everything, very clear and identified and before we move forward. And I'm just reflecting back on kind of the nightmare project that we funded for Hammerhorn with the U.S. Forest Service, where it seemed like it was a local project. And then the money, I believe it was a significant amount. I think 20 grand, I think is what I remember. It was maybe wrong there, but the money just disappeared into the general fund of the U.S. Forest Service. So we would have to be very careful at dealing with the state parks and where the money goes, if it's staying local or if it's going into a general fund account. Because if it goes to a general fund account, then we don't have, you have a possibility of losing it. As for the presenting, I think it would be best, Anna, you're a volunteer with this group. If there's somebody else that could pen the letter and present it to the commission, it would be cleaner, I believe. And then we could review and approve and move forward with it.
All right, sounds good.
Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. And on your note of funding, I totally understand. Any money that ends up going into the collaborative network goes into a very specific area. And because we have 14 different collaboratives, it's very well watched over. And I do agree that I don't think the commission is really in a position to give funding at the time. I'm just kind of wanting this to be more on your guys' radar if something does come about through these channels, that it wouldn't be kind of out of blue where I'm asking for a letter of support from the commission. So I think that's why I agendized this item today. But yeah, I appreciate all your comments.
Totally understand.
All right, so I'll kind of keep you guys up to date on this. Does anybody else have any more questions, comments, concerns?
I do not.
All right, so to move on to the next agenda item, which is also myself as well, a discussion of the Mendocino Groundwater Sustainability Plan. Through a school project of mine, I noticed that Mendocino County has a new groundwater sustainability plan, due to the fact that, as Tracy brought up last meeting, some folks are drilling wells and they're not finding any water, or wells are running dry. A drought in California is no big surprise. What I'm curious is if the commission would feel comfortable with me reaching out to the organization that Mendocino County has contracted with, or talking more to the county about this and perhaps getting a presenter on board for for an upcoming meeting, just so we stay up to date on how our groundwater is doing.
I love the idea personally.
I think it would be a great idea.
Patty?
Yeah, our office, the Resource Conservation District, does groundwater monitoring for the GSA, and that one of our board members, associate board members, sits on the technical advisory group. I feel a little bit like this is stuff that we should all personally be, aware of, because we're commissioners and it's a natural resources issue. But I don't know how well it fits fish and game. That's my only question. So if somebody wants to weigh in on that, I'm all ears.
So on the fish and game side, what my observations have seen with water holes for that have been in the environment for as long as I can remember, that wildlife use are dry this year for the very first time. And so part of that is an uncontrolled, unregulated well drilling that's occurring in our county. And so that is my interest is to the animals are suffering significantly because of this. Yes, there is, but there is significant amount of groundwater being removed. So that would be my interest on what is actually happening. Is the county going to start regulating this? And I think that could fit right into some of our responsibilities as the commission, is just being educated on that.
Yeah, I would be in favor of a presentation. Just to remind the group that the only area that is being part of the GSA is the Ukiah Valley, which includes, I believe, Redwood Valley and the Sunell district down by Hopland. So those are the areas that are being part of that study. The rest of the county is not at that level. The state Department of Water Resources classifies all the groundwater in the county according to whether they're a medium priority, high priority, or low priority. And the Ukiah Basin is a medium priority. But I think a presentation would be very informative. So
I look forward to it. Yeah.
Go ahead, Tracy.
Everything Red Hawk said is so true about the wildlife, not to mention the fish. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the presentation.
Agreed. There's a lot in this scope that I wish I knew more about, because I do feel it's my responsibility to know as a general citizen, and that I'm just woefully underinformed. So perhaps there are others in my boat. So I'll move forward on trying to contact someone. I might follow back with you, Commissioner Madigan, because it seems like you've got a lot of good contacts in that scope already, and perhaps we can get something set up.
sure,
Cool.
anytime.
Sounds great. So moving on, we have 2 agenda items from Commissioner Van, but since he's not in attendance, should we post those towards next meeting?
I'm raising my hand. Yes. I spoke with Randy yesterday or Saturday, and he would like that to be on the next agenda.
All right, very good. That brings us to the end of our agenda items. The last thing is a note for the public that we're going to attempt to have a presentation from the Department of Fish and Wildlife about elk. Hopefully that meeting will be on January 20th, but we have to talk with Mendocino building and planning before we can kind of square that away. But I know there are a lot of questions, and elk is a hot topic for Mendocino County right now. So I asked Angela Morin, hope I'm pronouncing that right, what the presentation would be about. And her statement is that they have an elk management unit in the 2018 Elk Conservation and Management Plan, and she would like to discuss the MAPS goals and population estimates, and then report on spring aerial surveys of Thule elk in the Mendocino Elk Management Unit, talk about survey goals and objectives, the survey area, number of elk counted, and then future elk monitoring efforts in Mendocino, helicopter surveys, roadway surveys, and etc. So if we do have members of the public out there that are especially interested in elk, please be advised that our next meeting, we will hopefully have Department of Fish and Wildlife speaking on the elk situation. That being said, we are officially at the end of our agenda. Do we want to do commissioner comments?
Yes, please.
Yes.
All right, Tracy, you want to take it away?
Is anybody interested in the Oak Woodlands, what's going on with the Oak Woodlands, write up from the county? You know, they have to write a Oak Woodland ordinance before they open up rangeland. Is anybody interested in previewing it or anything like that?
Say that one more time. It kind of got muffled.
There's an Oak Woodlands ordinance that's being crafted by the county right now, that's gone in front of the Planning Commission, and I was wondering if anybody else is interested in reviewing it, and I could send them the document, or if we wanted to have it as an agenda item or anything like that.
I wouldn't mind reviewing it just for my personal knowledge. I don't know if it's I mean, if you want to make it an agenda item, personally, I would like to look at it.
Okay, cool.
So
I will send it to
Tracy,
you.
this is Patty. I just would caution you that you brought up the rangelands opening up for, I'm assuming it's cannabis. And that I just want to caution you to, you know, maybe like allow one of us to reach out to the people who are crafting the Oak Woodlands, or maybe the Native Plant Society, California CNPS would be really a good way to go about that. And also, if anybody wants to talk about sudden oak death, I learned a whole bunch about sudden oak death recently, and I don't know if that's going to be part of the oak ordinance, but it should be part of how we educate ourselves, because it's a big problem in Mendocino County.
That would be so, like, just an oak topic. I was going to just send you the basic, I have it in a PDF or something like that. I was just going to send you over the file. I have it downloaded. I was just going to email it to you. Okay, great. So I'll email it to all y'all. And then the other thing is kind of, I love our mission statement so much, and on our website it doesn't have our full mission statement, and I'd like to put our full mission statement up there.
Sounds good.
Okay, and those are my comments. That was it. And thank you guys for your patience with me. This is not something that comes very naturally to me, and I'm working with it. And I want to say thank you for your patience, and we're onward and upward.
Awesome. So going back to, are you done? I don't mean to interrupt.
I'm done.
Okay. Sorry. So back to Patty with the sudden oak. You know, if you give us, you know, some kind of a presentation at the next meeting, I think that would be great, because that is a something that is. I just read an article how it's very prevalent even in the dry years. So
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
How about if I just kind of lay out, you know, kind of do a report about
Perfect.
participation in something called the Sudden Oak Death Blitz. And I can talk to people about how you can become involved. And I can refer people to different websites and things like that. I think that I'm not really an expert, but,
Okay.
but I'm an
No, that's great.
interested party. And I think just as part of our reporting in, I can be on the agenda at our next meeting to just give an update on sudden oak death in Mendocino County.
Perfect. I think that would be fantastic.
Sure.
So I mean, I'm not sure if you wanted to talk about it, Anna, or I'll just take care of it because I've been working on it. And this is Tracy's been filling in as the secretary and got us back up and running, and has done a great job just getting our meetings going. And it's been a learning process for everybody. But I have also on the outside been working to try to get a body to fill the secretary position, and it looks like it's going to happen. And it will be it looks like Caitlin Schaefer will be taking the position, and that will put us back to our normal schedule outside of business hours. So it'd be back in the evenings, and we'll have our own Zoom account, the whole 9 yards, and the technical difficulties will be, minimized. And I think, for me to be operating during the meetings during the middle of the day is difficult. So I'm looking forward to getting back to a normal routine. One other thing I just realized, speaking of normal routines, reading through our bylaws, meetings, I would like to get back to our normal schedule. So starting in the second Tuesday in February, that is when our normal routine is for meetings. So I think we have something on the books for January 20th with the elk already. Let's maybe have another meeting in February just to start the right rotation for 21. That's just some thoughts and stuff I came across this last week. That's it for me.
Yeah, I think that following point on the meetings is a good one, Red Hawk, and we'll see what building and planning has for availability. We didn't set any dates in stone with Department of Fish and Wildlife until we knew what was going on. But it is good news if Caitlin wants to come on and give us more flexibility so we're not stuck to that, the building and planning schedules. So we can talk about kind of future meetings in just a hot second. Patty, did you have any commissioner updates?
Just the sudden oak death.
Right.
And I'm happy to bring you guys up to speed either in January or February on that.
Yeah, that would be great. It's a topic that I would definitely love to know more about. On my end, there's not much to update from anything outside of what I've already talked to you guys about with the MPA Collaborative Network. So on to, I guess we can just go right into planning the next meeting. Well, I guess the other update, sorry, I'm scatterbrained. If Caitlin does come on, I guess we need to do a little background work and figure out when she would be able to start, and if the January meeting would be a good timeline for her, or if perhaps the a meeting in February would be more realistic.
I can absolutely reach out to her. I want to say that that's really good news for me, Commissioner Paul. That's fantastic. And if you guys are into it, I can, I can just email her and ask her. Do you want me to?
I think Commissioner Paulson has a back and forth going on with her and Adrian.
Okay.
There were some questions about making sure that she's not double dipping her time working for building and planning and then working for us. So I think they've already got a back and forth going, but thank you for offering. And it has been amazing to have you, Tracy. We couldn't have gotten back up on deck without you. It's been a total blessing. We just want you to be free to be a commissioner and not be dragged down by so many minutes. All of the minutes and agendas on such a different style of forum as well.
Can I throw 2 cents in?
Of course.
I am raising my hand, just so you know. Back to Tracy, or actually all of us, because there are some things still being worked out with bringing Caitlin on. I think that we should stick with kind of what we've planned already, the January 20th, with staying with the county and them being our host. And then when Caitlin does come on, we'll have to, we can make adjustments at that time. Because it's unknown, I don't think we should make any adjustments to our schedule until it actually happens, if that makes sense. Let's stick with the plan of moving forward with the next meeting on the 20th, and we can go from there. But that's it.
I like that plan. So then I guess our question is to building and planning. James, are you listening?
Gotta find you guys.
Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Are you guys available to host us on January 20th?
Is that a holiday? That's not Martin Luther King's birthday, right?
You know, that's a great question. I can look it up.
And
Yeah,
Chair
we're
Newman
okay.
also,
So that's the 20th is a Wednesday. That's fine.
It is Inauguration Day. If
18th is the holiday.
So the 20th works for you.
Also
It's fine.
at 3.
Tracy, you there?
Thank you. January 20th at 3. And then can you also, how do we get for people to participate? Red Hawk, you said there were 22 people, so we do have a way for people to participate, correct? Or
Yes, they have
I'm not
to.
100% sure. The last meeting I saw, there's 22 people on if you look at the very bottom of the screen, like right now we have 5. Last time there's 22. So I'm not sure why what happened this time. But I think that is something we need to really work on, so all the public can come in if they want and comment. And I think the model we'll have to use is similar to what the Board of Supervisors use. I think there's a mechanism to have public comment at their meetings. And that's something that maybe I can look into with either
Caitlin?
AM or Caitlin or somebody to just kind of give us direction on how to make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna do,
I did not understand you.
James?
Yeah. So the way the public comment works is they call in. There's a form that's on the website. It's called the telecomment form. They fill in that form and it emails it to me. Then I put them on a list, and then during the meeting, they sit in the attendees tab in the waiting room, and you pull them over one at a time as you call their name. So it's done ahead of time, actually. The list is set up.
That's how we do it at the Board of Supervisors.
That's how the Board of
Is that
Supervisors does
new?
it. And that's how the Planning Commission does it also.
Is that new? Did we just put that up there?
No, it's been there a while. It's been there since probably March.
Okay, so we do have a way to share with the public. Okay, that's good.
Right.
So I think what would be important on this is notification to, for example, like Devin Jones at the Farm Bureau, and have this meeting posted at public places so people know that's happening, and then they can call in.
Right, and there's wording that I put on the agenda that tells them which website to go to, how to get the form, how to fill it out, and how to email it to us. So there's like pre-formed paragraphs of telling them step by step how to do it.
Fantastic.
All right, sounds good. We're also streaming live on YouTube. In case anyone didn't know, I just Googled us. So there's another outlet, but I'm not sure you can make the comments from there, but just to watch.
You cannot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming today. Sorry for the delays that occurred and the tech difficulties, but I think all in all, we had a fairly good meeting.
I agree.
I think so too. Yeah. And we're and just to clear, so we're on for January 20th at 3:00, and I'm going to write everybody again one more time and make sure that we reboot.
Right.
Thanks,
on.
everybody. Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks,
Yes,
Miss
thank you,
Patty.
Tracy.
All right. Thank you guys.
All right. Well, we'll speak to you on the 20th of January. It's Inauguration Day as well, so be prepared
All right.
for whatever that means.
All right. See you next.